Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Video Vinyl Spotlight. My name is Rich from RVG, and today we're going to be looking at a record I picked up recently on Discogs. I actually picked up 2 copies of it, and we're going to actually be talking about both copies today. It is a record that I actually didn't like at first and continued to give a chance and really grew on me. Definitely in the post-bop vein. Not a genre that I typically gravitate towards, but yeah, the record which I got recently is right here. It is Sam Rivers' Fuchsia Swing Song, and I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. Fuchsia? Okay, somebody correct me if I'm wrong. This is a white B pressing with the Van Gelder stamp. So we have the white B labels here, and that would have been probably, what does London Jazz Collector say about that? That it's 75 to 78, I believe is what he says. But yeah, Van Gelder stamp on that. There's also like a United Artists stereo pressing. That's not Van Gelder stamp from what I understand. Yeah, it's kind of, the Van Gelder stamp stereo copies are not as prevalent as a lot of other titles that came out around this time. This is catalog 4184. The main thing that drew me into this album was Tony Williams' drumming. When I first heard it, and I first gave it a try because someone online was saying that it's a must-have album. I mean, I know Sam Rivers is like post-bop, and my understanding is that he definitely got much more into avant-garde not too long after he made this record. And you know, with a lot of avant-garde artists, like their earliest stuff I tend to like, and it's not too far out. For example, Andrew Hill's first album on Blue Note, Black Fire, I like, but I can't really get too much into his other stuff. So yeah, I guess this is another one because Clifford Allen had mentioned recently that he loves Contours by Sam Rivers on Blue Note, and I listened to that and I didn't really dig it as much. So yeah, I was like, when I first listened to it, you know, I was just playing it on Spotify in my car, and I was just like, where's the melody? You know, just kind of sounded like they were riffing and jamming. But with persistent listening, and why did I listen persistently? Why did I keep listening? At a recent audio meetup, my friend Ray, at one point, I overheard him talking to somebody else, and I heard him say, like, life's too short to try to force yourself to get into music that you don't really connect with naturally. And I thought about it, and I was like, that's totally true. I made these stories on Instagram a month or 2 ago about Eric Dolphy's Out to Lunch, and I was like, what is it that I don't get about this album? And, you know, a big variety of responses, but a lot of people kind of just said, well, if you're not into it, that's fine. You know what I mean? For me, I love it. It's one of my favorite jazz albums or whatever. And, you know, I do. I think that I've tried pretty hard to get into avant-garde and like get it and like listen carefully and see if there's something I'm missing. And like, you know, after hearing Ray say that, I kind of have been thinking lately, like, yeah, what's the point? Like, you know, there's so much music out there to enjoy and listen to that. Why should enjoying music and appreciating music take so much effort? That said, why did I continue to persist with this album? It came up in this big record collection I helped these guys from a hi-fi shop in Syracuse, New York. I helped them sell a collection recently, and this a Black Bee copy was in that collection, and I was gonna keep it for myself. I was curious how it sounded. It didn't have the Van Gelder stamp. I put it on, and I knew Tony Williams was on it, and listening to the vinyl, you know, that non-Van Gelder stamped 70s Black Bee pressing, it sounded great. I totally connected with it, and being able to focus on Tony Williams and his amazing drumming on that, it really resonated with me. And I decided I was going to keep it. I then proceeded to drop it at some point because one day I went to put it on my turntable and I saw a huge mark on it that wasn't there when I got it. So I was so bummed about that, I just sold it for like $30 in VG condition. I mean, like, I feel like a lot of post-bop artists, a lot of artists that were coming of age around the mid-60s, they're really hot right now. And like even like stuff like their Black Bees without Van Gelder stamps are definitely fetching a premium. Like I think Sam Rivers is one person, Joe Henderson, Wayne Shorter, Bobby Hutcherson. I feel like these guys are really hot right now. I feel like every time there's a good deal on a Joe Henderson record on Discogs lately, it's gone in like an hour. But yeah, so after I dropped it and consequently sold it, I had been thinking I wanted to get another copy. So I started looking on Discogs and like looking really hard for good deals. And I found pretty good ones. The first one I got actually was not this White Bee Van Gelder stamped copy. It was actually this Black Bee copy, which you can see from the cover. It looks it's in very similar good condition, VG plus condition. I got this one first and I was like, wow, this sounds great. You know what I mean? Like, and I had already ordered the White Bee copy and I thought, well, we'll see which one I like better, and I'll just, I'll try to figure out then which one I like better. This one I paid $50 for, and then I paid $5 for shipping. And then this Van Gelder copy, I paid, I think I paid $90 for. Kind of a lot for a White Bee pressing, I know. But the way I reasoned about it was the Van Gelder stamped copies of this are pretty rare. So that's sort of like how I justified spending that much. It's pretty clean, and the back is nice and clean, and I mean it plays beautifully. I mean there's nothing wrong with the playback at all. So what I decided that I was going to do was compare the Van Gelder mastering to the reissue mastering, right? Because the Van Gelder mastering actually would be the original stereo mastering. And that was a very interesting experiment. And what I decided to do was record both records and put them on my blog. So you can go over to my blog. I'll have a link down in the video description. And you can hear and compare for yourself. I wonder if you will hear the same thing I'm hearing. And that is mainly what? What are the big differences? Okay. I guess the main difference is that, as usual, the Van Gelder copy was louder, and the non-Van Gelder stamp copy, the Black Bee copy, the stereo spread was much more even and wide. And it was interesting because on speakers, the Van Gelder stamped White Bee copy still sounded wide and stereo, but in headphones, the Black Bee copy sounded much wider, and the Van Gelder copy, actually it sounded like he had pulled the left side with Rivers in almost center. To be perfectly honest with you, I prefer that wide stereo. But it'll be interesting to hear what people think about the audio clips and the comparisons, either in the comments here or the comments on my blog. Just to say a little bit more about the music, after repeated listening, I feel like the melodies definitely started to emerge from the songs. I don't think when Rivers solos he really evokes the melody, and I just really love when Tony Williams plays more straight up like that, not like in the free or avant-garde style. He's just so snappy, and he's kind of I guess I might say he's like a flamboyant drummer. He's like it just seems like he's constantly wanting, like he can't help but feel compelled to hit different drums and cymbals, and he's just a real joy to listen to. To some extent, I'm still really getting super familiar with the songs. I woke up one morning this past week with Ellipsis in my head, the last song on side 2, and the other really great song that stands out to me right now, just looking at the track listing, is the ballad Beatrice, written by Rivers. Just recently I realized that Joe Henderson covered it. It's like the opening track on the State of the Tenor 2-volume album. But I really enjoy the whole album. Jackie Byard is great on this. I wasn't super familiar with him before this. He has an album, I believe it's on Prestige or New Jazz. I think it's on New Jazz, and that comes up a lot in my Spotify, and I like that. I think it's Luminous Monolith, the first song on the second side, where there's definitely these comical moments where Tony Williams kind of winds down and then Jackie Byard kind of like ramps up with his playing, and then like they come back in together like smack on the one, and it actually kind of creates this comical, fun kind of a moment in the song several times, and that's another one of my favorites on here. But yeah, so really grew on me. Don't really love the cover, kind of a bland, boring brown color, and although it does look cool that Rivers does kind of seem like he's somewhere in like downtown New York City. I don't know, that there's like a park here. For some reason it makes me think of the East Village or the Lower East Side or something, but I don't know. I'm not really crazy about this cover. It's just kind of whatever to me. But the music is great, and the vinyl's great. And it's available in what is it, Classic Series? Yeah, it's currently available in the Classic Series, so it's easy to get on vinyl. So yeah, thanks for sticking around for my little review of Sam Rivers' Fuchsia Swing Song, and stay tuned for the next Video Vinyl Spotlight.